if they had written a script for this past weekend, I don't know that it would have been rejected, but I think on the first table read, people would have went, okay.
What?
All right.
Say what?
I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans in a week in which they had 23, that's a real number, not an exaggeration, 23 players on the injury list midweek. I didn't see them going into Cincinnati and not only beating the Bengals, doing so with 30 carries and a $150 from Devin Singletary. Beating the Bengals after blowing a late 10-point lead against a Super Bowl contender, against a team that had just beaten the Bills on Sunday night, against a team that has been to the AFC Championship game in each of the last 2 seasons. I told you last week that CJ Stroud needed to be in the MVP conversation. Interesting how Twitter took that one up on its own Sunday afternoon, with many of the talking heads that you see on the TV and on the Twitter or the X or the face space or any of those things saying, oh, I think CJ Stroud should be the MVP. Listen, I didn't invent the idea in any way, shape, or form, but it needs to be discussed. CJ Stroud did it again, and he overcame his second interception of the year. Not of the quarter, not of the half, not of the week, not of the month. His second interception of the season as a rookie in the fourth quarter when he seemingly gave the game back to Joe Burrow. But all he did was march his team down the field, and Matt Amendola, not Dare Ogunbowale, hit the game-winning field goal. And the Houston Texans, everybody, are a legitimate playoff contender. They are 5-4. And if the playoffs were to start today, I'm waiting for it.
They're not.
They don't. Thank you. The Houston Texans would be in. You know, Houston in a couple of weeks gets the Jaguars in town.
Team they already beaten.
A team they've already beaten in Jacksonville. Who would have circled? Raise your hand if you would have circled Week 12. Jaguars, Texans.
Must see.
In Houston as a game that's worthy of being flexed. Now, put your hand down, you're lying. Lying liar who lies. But the Houston Texans have a schedule that sets up nicely. They get tiny dancer Kyler Murray and the Cardinals next week. Then the Jags, then the Broncos, then Trevor Siemian and the Jets. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. You get my point. They're pretty good. Here's what CJ Stroud had to say after the game.
I think that's where it comes from. I think God made me like that. I've been through a lot, not only in football, but things that made me just kind of chill during when everything's going crazy. And I thank God for putting that on me, because that's something that put that in me, because that's something that you need playing in this position in this league. That defense over there, they didn't blink, even though they were giving up big plays and things like that. They knew that it would come down to the wire. We knew that too. And I just went to D'Amico and let him know, man, I got you. We're going to win this game. And he looked me right in the eye and said, I trust you. So it's amazing to have trust in your head coach. And I'm a rookie, and my OC, Bobby, man. I think Bobby, we need to give him his flowers. He called a great game again, leaned on his players and took risk. And I appreciate him for even doing that.
Bobby being Bobby Slowick, son of the former NFL assistant, Bob Slowick, the offensive coordinator, and another one from the Shanahan tree. What kind of tree is it? It's another tree. It's a tree, rather, that bears offensive coordinators. Bobby Slowick came from the 49ers with D'Amico Ryans. And if you go back to the pre-draft process, and they will make a 30 for 30 one day on the pre-draft process that led the Texans to get CJ Stroud at number 2, right? Brushing aside all the talk of his slow reading of the field or slow processing, whatever it was you heard that CJ Stroud wasn't good at. But the one thing that we did know and was reported in their pre-draft meeting, Bobby Slowick, the rookie offensive coordinator, had never called a play yet for the Texans, and CJ Stroud kind of got into it, like butted heads. And a lot of times in these pre-draft interviews, especially for the quarterbacks, you press them, right? Hey, what do you see here? What do you do here? What kind of leader are you? You ask all the tough questions. This is the guy that we may have as the face of the franchise. And allegedly, it didn't go well between Slowick and Stroud. A lot of people thought Bobby Slowick allegedly was trying to be a little bit of a tough guy. Slowick has said, hey, maybe I didn't handle it the right way. I got a little amped up. CJ Stroud pushed back, and then it came out. Oh, no, it didn't go well. Bad pre-draft visit. Oof. Not going well there in Houston. Oof. Maybe Nick Caserio is going to be out before the whole season even begins. Wow, bad, rough, ugly. Nope, they're in the playoffs right now, kids. Yep. In the playoffs, if they were to start right now, which they do not, but they are a legitimate contender. And if they beat the Jaguars in a couple of weeks in Houston, and the Jaguars aren't necessarily what we thought they were 72 hours ago, if they beat the Jaguars in Houston in a couple of weeks, they have the inside track to the AFC South title and a home game in the American Football Conference playoffs. So how about that one?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.